We're starting the second module of the class now, and we're going to look at your money and resources. In this chapter, we'll look at different types of interests. The easiest type of interest to calculate for a savings account or a loan is called simple interest. Simple interest has arithmetic growth, which means that it grows in a straight line. Before we get into interest, let's do a review of converting percentages to decimals. Suppose I want to get a loan for a car that costs $12,000 and I need to have 15% for a down payment. To figure out my down payment amount, I first need to convert 15% to a decimal number. And to do that, I want to divide 15 by 100 by moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. So if you look at, I started out with 15.0 here so I could see where the decimal point is, and then I just move it over 2 spaces to the left, and that gives me 0.15 is the decimal form of 15%. Once I have that, to get the down payment amount, I just multiply the cost by the decimal form of 15%. So that is 12,000 times 0.15, which will give me $1,800 is the amount I need for a 15% down payment on the car. Now let's talk about principal and interest. The principal is the initial balance of an account, so that's the amount of money you start out with. And the interest is the amount paid or charged for the use of money expressed as a percentage of the principal, which is to be paid over a given period, usually a year. Simple interest is interest that is paid on the original principal only and not on any accumulated interest. So that means if we have a principal amount, P, and say we have an annual interest rate, R, the amount of interest earned in T years is given by this formula here. I, the amount of interest that you earn, is equal to the principal times the annual rate of interest times the number of years you've had the account. So to get the total amount accumulated in the account, I'm going to add the principal to the interest. So the total amount, A, will be P plus I, which is equal to P plus P times R times T. And then if we pull the P out of both of those terms, this is equal to P times 1 plus RT. So this is the formula we're going to use to find out the amount of money we have in an account after a certain period of time. Let's look at an example of interest on a CD. Suppose my great aunt Norma left me $5,000 in her will. I decide to invest the money in a certificate of deposit, or a CD, at my local bank. If I get a simple interest rate of 3% annually, how much money will I have after 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? Well, my principal amount of money that I start out with, P, is going to be $5,000. The interest rate, R, is 3%. So to make that into a decimal, this is the same as 3.0%, and I want to move the decimal place 2 places to the left, so 1 and then 2, so I need to put an extra 0 here in front, and that's going to give me 0 point, and then I've got 0.3 is the decimal form of 3%. So let's look at how much I will have after 1 year. Well, after 1 year, my amount that I have in my CD is going to be equal to the principal times 1 plus R times t, and since this is 1 year, t is equal to 1. So that's going to give me $5,000 times 1 plus r is 0.03 times 1, and that is going to give me $5,150 after 1 year in my CD. What about after 5 years? So now t is going to be equal to 5 years, and the amount of money, I'm going to use the same formula. So my principal is still what I started out with initially, is $5,000 times 1 plus the interest rate is the same, 3%, which is 0.03. And now I've had the CD for 5 years, so t is equal to 5. If I put that in my calculator, that's going to give me $5,750 after 5 years. What about 10 years? So when t is equal to 10 years, my amount, I'm using the same formula again, my principal is still 5,000 times 1 plus 0.03, and now t is equal to 10, so times 10. And after 10 years, I will have $6,500 in my CD. So here is that rewritten, and I've made a graph to show how much money I have in my CD over time. So after 1 year, it's gone up a little bit, and you can notice that the amount of money I have in my CD goes up in a straight line, which is what we said happens with arithmetic growth. So it grows in a straight line because I have simple interest. So where is simple interest used? This is probably not the type of interest you have for your savings account. Simple interest is used for private loans between individuals because it's easy to calculate. It can also be used for commercial loans for less than 1 year because for low interest rates and short periods of time, simple interest does not differ much from more complicated kinds of interest. It's also used for financing of corporations and the government through bonds. So a bond is a loan with repayment at the end of a fixed term, and simple interest is accrued annually or semi-annually. Let's look at one more example to finish up this section. Let's look at simple interest on a student loan. Suppose you need a private $10,000 student loan. PNC Financial Services will give you a loan with an interest rate of 3.21%. There is an interest-only repayment option, which means you make monthly interest payments while you are in school and then pay on the principal only after you graduate. How much monthly interest will you pay? Well, let's look at what we've got here. You've got a loan for $10,000. So your principal is going to be equal to $10,000. They've given you an annual interest rate of 3.21%. So let's change that to a decimal. We're going to move the decimal point over 2 places to the left. 1, 2, so we need to put another 0 here. So that is going to give me an interest rate of 0.0321 is the decimal form. Now you are paying interest monthly, so the amount of time is 1 month is 1/12 of a year. So to figure out the interest that you're paying each month, we're going to use the formula for just the interest is equal to principal times your interest rate times the period of time. So that's going to give me 10,000 times my interest rate of 0.0321 times my time period is 1 month, or 1/12 of a year, so times 1/12. If I put that in my calculator, every month in interest, I'm going to pay $26.75 per month on that loan. So that finishes up this section. Things that you should know: you should be able to calculate simple interest given the principal and interest rate. And you should know that simple interest is paid on just the principal and grows linearly. So if I make a graph of the amount I have over a certain period of time, it's going to look like a straight line.